So our final step is to varnish our piece, and you can do this with either matte varnish or gloss varnish. And I'm going to put a nice glossy coat of varnish on my rabbit because that's what I prefer. And this is the kind of effect it's going to have. It's got a lovely sheen to it. So this is another of the rabbits. I made a slightly smaller version of it, and I painted this one white with a little Easter egg design. And it's come out really, really nicely, but it gives it a very nice, secure, protective coating over the top of your rabbit. So I'm going to be using this sculpted gloss varnish, and it's specifically made by the manufacturers of the clay that we've used here. So we know we're using something that is going to work nicely with the clay. You want a nice fluffy brush, and you also want to make sure that you wash your brush out immediately after using this, because otherwise it will dry onto the fibers of the brush and it'll ruin it. You won't be able to get it off because it dries hard. So I'm going to just tip the bottle to the side and dip my brush in, and I want a decent amount on there like that. I'm going to bring my rabbit up, and I'm just going to wipe in one direction the varnish onto my rabbit, and I'm just going to load my brush up. So I'm not putting huge amounts on. I'm just taking a small amount of varnish, and when you're brushing you don't want to be going from side to side, because you want to go in one direction ideally and just straight up and down, because you're going to see those brush strokes with the varnish, and you want to make sure that you're not going to see lots of haphazard lines all over the piece. And so do this gently, carefully. Make sure that you only do it when your piece is fully dry, giving chance for the acrylic paint to dry underneath, and just do one bit at a time. Make sure you're doing this in a ventilated area as well, because this can smell a little bit. It has a bit of a chemically kind of smell. Now, as you can see, as I've gone over that eye there, the ink is running slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a clean paintbrush, and I'm going to move that around. So if this happens to you, don't panic, because what you can do is get a little bit of paint and just go over and cover up that smudged ink. So that's clearly not completely dry. So I'm glad that's happened while I've been on camera doing that with you. So we're just going to carry on and do the rest of our rabbit. Make sure that I'm not got any of that ink on my brush, and I'm just going to carry on coating my rabbit to all of it, and then we'll come back to that part with the eye. So it's obviously not completely dry, and then I'm just going to put some acrylic paint around that area and then wait for that to dry, and then come back and varnish that part of him. So this does happen from time to time, and you just got to be careful and be mindful of it. And then when you finish varnishing, allow, I would say, 24 hours before you start picking your rabbit up and touching it. Just give it a full 24 hours to dry out completely, and allow that to seal your beautiful piece. And that is our completed rabbit.